Welcome back to the award-winning Lee Pitts Live on Fox 4. We're coming to you from Delray Beach, Florida. Get a chance to talk to a rising political star in a conversation with Percy Williamson, a candidate for District 26 for the State House here in Florida. We've covered a lot of ground with you, Percy, candidate Williamson. Now it's time to get into your political position and platform, and so let's get right to it. This is your first time running for political office. Do you consider yourself more of a businessman or a politician, a combination there too, or just plain old Percy?
Well, first of all, I don't consider myself a status quo politician. I consider myself a person who understands business, who understands government, and who understands collaboration, building bridges, not walls, that can collaborate and get things done. So I'm a person who gets things done.
I know we talked about it in our introduction, but why did you decide to, for this segment, why did you decide to run for politics for State District 26?
Well, having two outstanding careers that provided a lot of wealth of knowledge and experience, I think I have something to offer on both sets. Having my public sector experience, my private sector experience, and my experience coming out of the community, that I've got something unique to offer that can help my district, my state, my community.
Why are you the best candidate, though?
Because I'm a guy who cares about my fellow man, who understands that no man is an island, and that sometimes it takes a hand up in order for folks to be able to make things happen in their lives. The destiny of my life was changed, and so we can help change the destiny of others. And we have a lot of people who live in our state who don't have a voice. Mm-hmm. Young people, the working man. Those are the type people that I'm looking to represent, to give a voice to those folks who don't have one.
What in your background you think best qualified you or prepared you for the unique challenge in front of you as a district representative for the state of Florida 26?
Well, I mean, I take my life as a whole, from my my leadership qualities, which came out of my background, my competitiveness as far as being strategic about how to do things, my ability to collaborate and work with a diverse group of people, mm-hmm. And my work ethic, whether it's getting down and dirty with the guy who's on the front line or making decisions in the boardroom. I think I can handle all of it.
When you hear living wages, what does that mean to you?
Okay, so if you have a wife and two children, and you're earning minimum wage, you're actually below the poverty line. Mm-hmm. And that's what the problem is right now. We need to have a living wage where we're given an opportunity for the average man and woman to be able to have a piece of the American dream. And right now, we don't have that.
We who?
When I say we, the state of Florida. Let's go to the state of Florida. Right now, the current governor is touting 3.8% in unemployment. Okay, I get that. I get that. But the majority of the folks in that 3.8 is making a minimum wage. It's not the high wage jobs that have been created. Now, before the recession in 2006, we were down to 3.1% with a higher, much higher wage scale. Right now, the average person has actually lost 0.2% on income because of inflation. And so if we haven't raised the minimum wage to keep pace with inflation, then we've actually taken a pay cut.
You're in favor of increasing the minimum wage?
I'm very in favor of it. Matter of fact, I think we need to move it to $15 an hour incrementally over a 3-year period.
And those who are joining us and saying, why you mentioned you were in Delray Beach, but District 26 is in Volusia County. Mm-hmm. Mr. Williamson just happens to be in the area, this candidate, and we were able to catch him for a one-on-one. He is certainly, and he's knowledgeable of the entire state of Florida. Affordable health care and the expansion of it. you're in favor or against it?
I'm in favor of it. I mean, healthcare is almost a human right. I mean, if you can't take care of yourself and your family when they get sick, right now the emergency rooms are being utilized as primary care physicians, and that costs the state a lot of money. Mm-hmm. If we provide affordable health care for those people who need it, then the cost of government would go way down. And I just can't understand why the majority of the people who are actually making the laws in this state and in this country would not want to move towards that.
So does that say that you pretty much are in favor of the what we knew in the past as Obamacare coming back?
Absolutely, yes.
Affordable housing. What's your definition of affordable housing, and what's your position on it in District 26?
I've always felt, and based on what I told you about my background was and how we moved to Daytona Beach and was essentially homeless, was that the part of the American dream is to be a homeowner, and that's what most people strive to do. But in order to do that, there has to be affordable housing, workforce housing that I consider it, to where the average family can afford it. The state of Florida at this point in time have a number of programs to help facilitate affordable housing. One of them is what's called the Sadowski Act.
Okay.
And the Sadowski Act is an act that was put into place to help particular programs to facilitate affordable housing, and it specifically has to do with the doc stamps and deed stamps that each transaction is required to pay when you transact a deal on a house. Last fiscal year, the state of Florida basically appropriated $200 million in funding to go towards affordable housing. However, they redirected $117 million from the appropriated amount. Florida right now is 49th in the United States in affordable housing. The very program that was created to help us get those numbers up and get us off the bottom of the list, we're redirecting the money to things other than the reason why it was created. So the first thing I'm going to do is demand that the money that's being appropriated for affordable housing goes to affordable housing and not backroom politicians going in and redirecting money.
Let me get one more question on that, and then we'll move to education reform.
Yes.
When the state has monies to encourage affordable housing, tell us, how is that done? Is that done through tax credits? I don't think that old system still exists, but subsidies, that kind of thing.
No, there's a number
SHIP program.
There's two programs. One is the SHIP program, which basically assists low-income, first-time home buyers in purchasing homes, and the other one is the SAIL program, which is a part of what we used to call LIHTC, the low-income housing tax credits, which help facilitate multifamily apartments and the like. And so those particular programs is supposed to be funded with that $200 million.
Okay. Sesame Street there. Give us an example. A person comes in, certain income level, they will qualify for a certain amount of what? Down payment and closing costs, expenses being go.
Right. And 9 times out of 10 they have to go through a program where they get certified for to understand, some of the things that you're responsible for when you own a particular house, and then you get a certification letter indicating that you've completed the program, you understand what your responsibility is, and then you take that certification to a lender that would provide you with a low interest particular mortgage and help you get into your first house. And
now that we understand that in a more concise way, you're saying that $17 million, I think was the number you used?
$117 million of the $200 million
was taken out and put somewhere else.
Yes. That has nothing to do with housing.
Wow.
Yes. So we have the money appropriated. We have the vehicle and programs in order to make it happen, but unfortunately, politicians in Tallahassee are redirecting that money away from the purpose intended. And you just heard me say that the state of Florida is 49th out of 50th in affordable housing. One of the biggest successes that I had as a banker was a small subdivision that I developed over in Lehigh Acres. It's over on the West Coast.
West Coast of Florida. That would be just outside of Fort Myers, people. That would be Lee County.
Okay, all right. As you know, there are a lot of migrant workers over there. And so we basically created workforce housing for migrant workers in Lehigh. I think I did the first subdivision there, and now it's a sprawling community. This was over 15, 20 years ago. And so those are some of the things that this could do. I mean, you come in contact with migrant workers.
Well, if elected, based on my knowledge of you, to District 26 state representative, you could conceivably be the only person in that house, state house, that has that type of in-depth experience in actually doing it. What does that do in terms of the way you approach it?
I don't know who all serves in the state house or senate at this time. All I know is that if I get there, when I get there, I'm going to shine the biggest light that can be shown on that situation. Let people know that we're 49 out of 50 as far as affordable housing is concerned, and that we have the programs and resources to do something about it, but that the will of the legislature is being subverted by a mere few people.
The fact that you don't have affordable housing in the way that you should have it, how does that hamper a community?
Okay, if you have a community, workers who are working towards owning a house, now you're helping your local and municipal government with the taxes that you pay. You're providing a safe place to where, close to their place of employment, that they don't have to commute from long distances and whatnot. And so the house, as far as the majority or average American, is the biggest asset that anybody has, and you can build wealth by owning a house. It's an investment.
And it also shows when people have ownership, they have more pride in their community.
That's right.
It's just a better lifestyle for the children. The schools is better. Just bringing in those tax revenues as well. So you make a very good point there.
Yes.
Education reform. When I hear a state representative candidate talk about education reform or anything related there too, the first thing that comes to mind again is, how does a state rep have anything to do with education? Go.
Well, the Department of Education in the state of Florida dictates to local school boards around the state how much money they get, because money flows from Tallahassee to the school districts around the state. Okay? Not only does money flow, they don't send enough money. Money needs to be, the education in Florida needs to be fully funded so that the necessity of the supplies and materials that's necessary are there. Number two, the budgeted money that flows into it needs to be increased so that we can pay these local teachers, in my opinion, at least an extra 15%, so that we can attract the best and brightest teachers. You got a lot of teachers leaving the profession because you go to, okay, so now you go and you get an education. At Bethune-Cookman, it's a substantial amount of money in the mid-20s annually. So at the end of 4 years, that's a serious number. To go from paying that kind of money to going and getting a job as a educator in various counties in the state, making under $30,000 a year, is outrageous. So we need to raise the level of income so that we can raise the quality of teacher that will be going out and doing great work by educating our young people.
You've been very passionate and outspoken about the opium crisis in the area. Thoughts, comments around the opium crisis, specifically as it relates to the children?
Well, first and foremost, the opioid crisis started in the state of Florida and expanded to other places. We had pill mills in Florida like you would not believe. Right now, a substantial number of people are dying every single day. Now, I'll give it to the governor and the state legislature, Johnny come lately, that they put last budget year $64 million into helping to fight that crisis. It's too small to have a serious, significant impact. We need to triple that, minimum triple that. And none of that money is out there for treatment. You got a lot of money out there for interdiction, but you're not going to interdict and arrest yourself out of this crisis. Because, I mean, this is so serious that we need to put the resources and funding where it's necessary, which is treatment, in order to reduce many of the deaths and a lot of the crime that goes along with it.
I see. The assault weapons. Give me a second here to craft this question. I mean, it has been in and out, dominating the national and international news of this world, and the amount of killings that we're seeing is just massive murders. As a state rep, represent District 26, Democrat at the State House for the state of Florida. Tell me how we will see you functioning around legislation with assault weapons.
Well, first of all, being in South Florida, I have to give deference to the Parkland students because they basically have been holding a lot of legislators' feet to the fire for some of the outrageous decisions that they've been making. They're essentially more afraid of the NRA than they are of anybody else. And so if the NRA has that much sway on it, they've basically been perverting the legislative process. We just need reasonable gun laws that will help us to stop some of these outrageous massacres. Universal background checks is something that I think everybody can agree on, but we can't get many of those who are beholden to the NRA to step up and have a spine and do some of these things. And by calling attention to it and doing some of the things that the young people from Parkland has done, will get us some momentum to make things happen.
What do you think the primary reason is that we can't get the type of laws in place to do a good job in slowing this process down of people getting assault weapons?
Well, the strength as a political organization of the NRA has, particularly the folks on the Republican side, afraid of their own shadow. They show no spine, no backbone, and they're so afraid that they might not be elected that they won't stand up for reasonable background checks and gun control.
We're talking to Democratic candidate for District 26 for the state of Florida, Percy Williamson. District 26 is in Volusia County. The more populous city there is Daytona Beach. Final question to you, candidate Williamson. The President of the United States, Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, he is certainly colorful in his presidency. I know it's a lot to discuss when we talk about a president, but let's get you to kind of capsulize your thought on his a little bit over 1 year as the President of the United States. Has he been good for this country?
No. The political discourse in this country has been degraded. The standing of America as an ideal has been diminished. And unfortunately, many of those people who support him have not been have enough intestinal fortitude to rein him in, and so he's done harm to the presidency. I think that the presidency is resilient, but it's going to take some time to restore it back to what it was prior to him taking office.
If I'm not mistaken, did he carry the state of Florida?
Yes.
Do you think, what does that say about, lawmakers in the state of Florida, and just in general, if he carried the state of Florida. I'll let you unpack that.
Well, a lot of people thought that it was a foregone conclusion and stayed home. And I'm hoping that in the midterm elections that's coming up in just a few months, that those same people who are complaining about what the president is doing don't stay home and get out and exercise their constitutional right to go out and make decisions for the United States of America, so that we can have the necessary checks and balances that don't exist right now.
With about 30 seconds left, let's give you a website again.
PercyWilliamson.com. You can look me up there.
And you can also get you on social media.
Facebook, Percy Williamson for State Representative, District 26.
Would you take a look right into that camera right there? Talk to the people. Say, take about a minute and just say whatever you want to say.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege to serve the people of District 26 in Volusia County. I think that I could go fishing if I wanted to, but that's not my purpose. I think that what my community poured into me, I have something to offer back to them, and that would be being a public servant. I'm not seeking to get a political position or office as a legacy. A legacy is actually getting something done. You send me to Tallahassee, I'll get things done. Percy Williamson for State Representative, District 26.
Candidate Williamson, it's been a plum pleasing pledge and a privilege.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck in your campaign.
All right, thank you.
As the saying always goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those who are doing it, like Candidate Williamson. Catch us next time right here on the award-winning Lee Pitts Live on Fox 4.